Good morning, guys. Glad you guys could join us on this fine Sunday morning. For those of you who are new to our Sunday morning musings, this is Morning Musings with Terry, where we talk about quail and just basically whatever else comes up. No topic in particular. I did have one heck of a weekend, and it's not quite over with yet. I went through and tore apart all my cages, took them outside, pressure washed them. I had to move all the birds out of each individual cage into holding pens, and then wheel the cages out, pressure wash them. I swapped out the horizontal nipples that I've been using for the cup style horizontal nipples, and I did a video on that. You guys can check it out. It's here on the channel. But I'm really liking them. They're working great. And then I went through and sorted, because I had all my grow outs and grow out cages, and I went through and sorted all the grow outs and made up the new breeder sets. And by the time I was done with that, it was, let's see, I started at 7 in the morning. By the time I was done with that, it was like, I don't know, almost 1 o'clock. And then I still had time to butcher about 25, 30 birds up yesterday. So been quite a busy day yesterday for me, and I'm still not done. I still got a bunch of work out there in the shop I got to do this morning. So as soon as we're out of here, I'm going to go back out there and see if I can't get some more stuff done. So anyhow, this is the morning musings. I know that a lot of people aren't familiar with the new live stream on Sunday mornings, but I just thought, Sunday mornings is kind of my slow day, so I thought, I'd just go ahead and go live and talk with you guys about whatever comes up, whether it's quail or whatever, and maybe take a few questions. If you guys do have any questions, post them in the chat room, or whatever you want to talk about. Go ahead and post it in the chat room. Like I say, I don't have any real topics picked out. I see we do got quite a few people already in the chat room, which is cool. What else is going on? There have been some new stuff going on over on the Facebook groups. Actually, I'm not gonna say exactly what that is. You guys will find out Tuesday. I'm doing a live stream with Bree Pats, and she has an announcement to make regarding a new group that they're working on. So, Rob, I have never used diatomaceous earth in my sand. Occasionally, excuse me, if I had I got a burn pit out back. Sometimes I'll grab, a cupful of ashes out of that and mix it in with the sand. But I really don't do a whole lot of sand baths anymore because all my cages, one, are all hatching time cages, and there's not really room for a sand bath. But yeah, I just haven't really done that. So. Marius is in the house. Good morning, buddy. It has been a long time. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and jump over in the chat room and see what's going on. I'm not going to read every single comment unless it's a question or something. The Beaky's in the house, says, good morning. Got a bit of pre-chore prep work done. That's cool. Samantha Stratton says, good morning, everyone. 2 inches of rain last night, so it'll be humid here in Michigan. Really. I got to get a hold of my sister. She's up at Torch Lake right now. I guess they got some big to-do going on up there for the weekend. I wonder if they got rained out. Nabiki says, looks like I'm the only West Coaster here so far. Yeah, you're probably the only one up at, 6 o'clock in the morning out there? Yeah, it's kind of, I was actually going to make it a little bit later, so it'd be easier for the West Coast, but, if I made it 10 o'clock, I'm kind of, getting into my work schedule out back, working with the bees or out in the shop. Pappy's Homestead said, don't forget to hit the like button. Anita Garrett's in the house. Good morning, Anita. Glad you could join us. I see you got up on time. Deep cleaning days usually take 2 to 3 days. Yeah, that's a fact. I went through and it started out, I was just going to go out there and sort birds, and then I'm like, you know what? I got to empty the cages out anyhow. I might as well just, while they're empty, wheel them outside, pressure wash them real quick, and like I say, I had to swap out some of the old nipples for the new style ones. So it turned into an all-day project, or half-a-day project, I guess, but with the butchering and everything, it was all day. And I just about got caught in our afternoon thunderstorms that we get down here pretty much every day. But I did get all the quail butchered, and I didn't get wet, so I was good to go. Clifton says, good morning, everyone. From South Mississippi, I had my quail in the shop, and I moved them to an outside aviary, and they laid good for 2 days, but they have quit laying now. Today will be a week. Yeah, just give them a little bit more time. Whenever you do something like that disrupts their schedule, or it's a little bit stressful moving them from one spot to another, so that'll disrupt their laying pattern, but they'll come back. Bob Cole says, what's your favorite recipe for quail? If it's quail legs, I like them deep fried. My wife makes them deep fried. But I saw a post over on the Coturnix Corner group where the guy made buffalo wings out of quail eggs, and I think I want to try that. So that'll be the next one. Otherwise, if it's breast meat, I usually do it on the grill. I'll barbecue it on the grill. Rob says, Terry, do you? Okay, I already answered that one. No, I got away from. I never really used Diatomatrix. I do have some in the shop, but we use it for other things. Like I'll put it around the baseboards in my quail room to keep the sugar ants and stuff from coming in the house. Jade Acres Homestead said, I have to say you were right about the Purina feed that made them reek. Found a different one, thank goodness. Oh, you mean as far as the manure smell? Yeah, I noticed the same thing. And anybody that keeps birds, indoors like I do, or in an enclosed area, it's really a lot more noticeable. When I switched from the Purina to Kalmbach, it was almost instantly that I noticed it. I would say within a couple days. So yeah, we got out of the Purina stuff. I'm actually thinking about trying another food. We have a mill right here in Florida, and I called them up day before yesterday. And if I drive over there, which it's like an hour drive, well, hour and 30 minutes, I think, I can get 50 pounds of starter for under $20 a bag, and 50 pounds of layer, I think, for $16. And I went through and looked at the guaranteed analysis sheet. I had her send me over the tags, and they look pretty good. So I'm thinking of giving it a try. I know another guy here in Florida, he's using it, and I talked to him. He called me probably a week ago, and we talked about it. And he said that he hasn't had any issues with it. The birds still seem to be making weight when they're supposed to. So I might, pick up a bag or two and then try, 1 or 2 cages with that feed just to see how much of a difference it makes. Because for the Kalmbach right now, I'm paying for starter over $30 a bag, and to me that's a little bit ridiculous. Granted, they're only on starter for 6 or 8 weeks, but still $30 for 50 pounds. It's kind of pricey. Marius Bullion is in the house from South Africa. Glad you could join us, buddy. It has been a long time. You need to get a hold of me. What are you doing? Are you still keeping quail now? Are you guys, move on to something new or what? Chad says, where do you recommend purchasing eggs from? It depends on what you're looking for, Chad. If you want, just jumbos, there's a couple breeders here that have decent jumbos. I usually point everybody to Southwest Game Birds because Michael pretty much has everything that most people want, whether it's a jumbo variety or different color varieties and whatnot. But, if you want like the black quails or some, specialized lines, Rebecca Lynch from Thieving Otter Farm is working on some nice stuff. I'm trying to think who else. I am actually going to start shipping. I went through, like I said earlier, I went through and put all my breeding sets together. I'm actually trying something new this year. Instead of going with a larger breeding pen, I'm doing individual cages of a 1-to-3 ratio. And I'm hoping, I talked to a couple other people, that ratio is going to give me a decent fertility rate. Because I don't want to, start shipping eggs again and have issues with fertility. So I want to make sure, that people are going to get the best shot at getting, fertile eggs and whatnot. So that is what I'll be switching to. And I will have eggs available probably late fall, I'm thinking. And he says, will that live only be on YouTube? If so, I guess I will miss it. No, actually, we're going to broadcast to both Facebook and YouTube. And it'll also be on the Coturnix Corner group. You can watch it live there. Peppy's Home says, really like the Willie shirt. Yeah, that's my Willie shirt. Maury Straubel's in the house. Good morning, sir. Is it raining up there, Maury? Somebody said there in Michigan, said it was raining and really muggy and whatnot. Wolf Guy says, I saw a hack where someone attached their sand bath bins to the outside of their hatching time cage. I think I saw that too. They kind of wired up a plastic tug to the side of the cage and then cut a little opening. Yeah, I guess that would work. For what I'm doing now, though, I don't think that I really need to worry about sand baths. I mean, I haven't had any problems, not using them. Nabiki says, yep, usually get up around 5. That's about the time I usually get up, 5:30. Depends on when the dogs say they want to go out. We're up to 4 dogs now, by the way, guys. We've got, you guys know Red, big clumsy oaf. And then we've got 3 poodles now. We got 2 females, and I just picked up a little male. He's about, I think he's almost 4 months now, and we're going to use him for breeding and for stud service. Carrie says, good morning. I'm curious, and I'm looking to get another cage. Should I just bite the bullet and go hatching time? Carrie, that's really your call. I mean, I like the hatching time cages. I've been using them for going on 3 years now, I believe it is. And for what I do with them, they work really good. But I'm also, a big fan of all wire cages, which is why I built. Matter of fact, my grow out pens are all wire cages that I built myself. I can tell you, if you're handy and you can build your own cages, you can build 1, 2, 3, probably 4 3-tier setups of wire cages for the cost of one 4-tier unit hatching cage. And I hate to say that because Hatching Time is one of the Coturnix Corner channel sponsors, but I look at it both ways. If people want to spend the money, they're not handy at building. The Hatching Time cages are great. They're really easy to clean. Being plastic, like I took all mine outside yesterday, pressure washed them, and they all look brand new. They look like the day they came out of the box. But for the money, you could build quite a few wire cages. So yeah, that would be your call. Dubiki says, I worked East Coast support hours for so many years that it's normal for me. I hear you. Dale says, hey, Terry, right with you. I butchered 35 yesterday. Yeah, well, our freezer's full now. We had some that I butchered a couple weeks ago, and then from what we got yesterday, I won't have to butcher for a while. Although I say that, I got 2 incubators behind me going, and a bigger incubator out in the quail room going. So probably gonna have more to butcher. Yeah, and I know you don't do Facebook. Like I say, it'll be over on Coturnix Corner uh, community website, or it'll be on here. I know you don't do Facebook. The Beaky says any recipe for chicken wings you can do with quail quarters. That's cool. My wife does most of the cooking, unless it's stuff that goes on the barbecue. I've got to do it. Um, but I do want to look into the buffalo wings because I love really hot buffalo wings. Miki says I really wish I could get Hunt and Barons or Bar Ale game feed up here. My old town was chicken capital, so good feed companies were based out of it. Yeah, I don't know how big of a poultry industry Florida has. I mean, you would think that it wouldn't be bad, but we have two uh, feed mills, both of them over by Lake Okeechobee, both the same distance from me. One will sell to the public. You can actually go in there and buy feed at the wholesale cost to the public. The other one, which is right next door, they only sell to businesses that order several tons or more. So. Bob says I switched from Purina to Kalmbach months ago. No smell issues at all. Heard several people mention Blue Bonnet. Have I heard of that? No, I haven't heard of Blue Bonnet. Yeah, the Kalmbach, it did good by me. And the Kalmbach layer feed isn't that bad down here. I mean, it's $22 for 50 pounds. But like I say, that other stuff over by the lake I can get for I think $16 for 50 pounds. But like I say, I'm gonna have to compare the guaranteed analysis sheets and make sure, and I'll probably do a test cage, and just see how they do on it. Make sure I don't have any issues. James says southeastern Ohio, and I'm buying that turkey starter, 28% protein for 2021. Is that $20 or $21, or the year 2021? Yeah, turkey starter works good. That's the funny thing down here. When I go to a feed store and say, "What do you have for turkey starter?" They always point me to a game bird layer or a game bird starter. So I don't know why they don't have a separate feed just for turkeys. So. Rob says, luckily I found Kalmbach starter and also layer for $26 each for 50 pounds. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, I don't mind spending a few extra bucks if I know that I'm getting a decent food, which I know Kalmbach is a good food. I've been using it for a while now. But, I've watched the price go. When I started buying the starter, I want to say it was $24, $26 for 50 pounds. And now it's up over 30. I think it's like 31 and some change. I realize everything's going up, but cool. Sean Bell says, "Is the feed mill located in Zephyr Hills?" No, it's in Okeechobee on the north side of the lake. Oh, Maury says it's sunny up here but raining at home. That's cool. At least you guys' weekend didn't get rained out. Wolf Guy says I get my Kalmbach layer crumbles from Chewy for $25.54 on auto ship. Is that a 50-pound bag, Wolf Guys? Because I did go on Chewy and price some of their layer crumbles for 25. Okay, yeah, I can get the layer here for 22, but I priced their game bird starter at I want to say it was 38. It was considerably higher than what I'm paying now. So, and I understand, they got to cover shipping and everything. Terry says, being able to have the water and feeder automated is what I was thinking about. I followed your how-to video on making a wooden one, but my wife likes the looks of the hatching time better. Yeah, the hatching time, like I say, the nice thing about the hatching time cage is they are so hygienic as far as, I take them out, I pressure wash them, and then depending on how bad they are, at least once a year I'll take them and spray them down with a mild bleach solution, just to make sure I kill everything that's on there. And yeah, they're really easy to keep clean. They look good. Some people look at them, and think they look like Barbie doll cages or something. But I'm sure the quail don't mind, and I think they're built nice. I mean, they work out really good for what I want to do. Wolf Guy says, my FedEx man hates me. I'm sure, LOL, my Chewy order is around $200 a month for all my critters, 100 pounds of rat, 50 pounds crumbles, cat feed, littered reptile bedding, and whatnot. Yeah, I hear you. Woo! Oh, that's still hot. I use the tumbler for my coffee. If I use a cup, it seems to cool down too fast in here. So, Quail Hollow says, greetings from Vancouver Island, Canada. Glad you could join us. Super happy to be up early enough to catch this. I'm glad you can make it. Wolf Guy says, I don't have enough chicks to buy that size bag of starter, and generally they are fed to snakes by a couple of weeks. Oh, okay. So you are doing snake feeders. And Sharon says, good morning from Tampa, Florida. Glad you could join us, Sharon. Lindsay says, question, what is the difference between the turkey and game bird starters, Kalmbach? They tried to steer me towards it, too, at the mill. Is it more for bobwhites? It looked like pheasants and bobwhites on the bag. To be honest with you, I don't know. I've been just using the game bird starter because supposedly it's, the recipe or it's designed for game birds. But everybody told me that if you can't find game bird starter, you could always use a turkey starter. Problem is, I could never find a turkey starter. So yeah, we went with the game bird starter. And it's funny because I actually started out, when I got back into quail, it's been 6 years now. I started out with the really cheap feed. I mean, I was going to Tractor Supply, getting, Purina or the Dumore brand. Dumore wasn't bad, the layer feed, but it had a tendency to make their poop stink really bad. So that was my biggest issue. Anita Garrett had told me, because I am a really big fan of AJ Farms LLC, which is Anita and John Garrett. And I talked with her, about what they were feeding their birds, how they're keeping them, ratios and whatnot. And they have a special feed that was made up specifically for them, their own recipe and everything. And she said that, they can walk in their quail room, which is comparable to what I've got, with a lot more birds, and the manure doesn't smell at all. It smells kind of earthy. And so that's when I started, researching different feeds and whatnot. And Kalmbach was the only commercially produced feed that, met the nutritional requirements that everybody's talking about. Let's see. Carrie says, have you done a video on NPI certification and how strict they are on guidelines? I need to get that, but I'm nervous. Do I have to include my chickens in the certification? You can. I don't know where you're at, Carrie. In Florida, you don't even need to be NPIP certified to sell within the state. And I think most states are the same way. You do have to be NPIP certified to ship across state lines. To me, I think MPIP certification is a good idea because, one, it gives you peace of mind knowing that your birds are clean, from Pulmonary typhoid, avian influenza, and whatnot. And as far as them coming out and testing, there's nothing to be nervous at all. I mean, I was kind of the same way the very first time. I think it was when I did that video. I had no idea what they were going to look for when they came into my quail room. So I went through like a week prior, and I went through and I made the entire quail room just spotless. You could eat off the floor, cleaned, pressure washed every one of the cages, went out of my way to make it look really good. And it was 2 people came in, and when they walked in the door, they looked and said, "Oh, wow, this is beautiful. How do you keep it so clean?" I didn't want to tell them. It normally doesn't look this good, but no, there's nothing to worry about. Basically, they're going to draw blood. They have this little poker thing. They'll poke a hole underneath the wing, take a drop of blood, and put it on, mix it in with the dots of, what do they call that stuff? The antigens on the, they'll have a little board, and they'll put a bunch of drops on that board, and they'll go through and they'll mix it with that. And if it comes out, if it gets gritty, I guess that means they're positive for pulmonary typhoid. And then some states do it different. Florida, they do a swab for avian influenza. I know Anita was telling me in Virginia they can actually do it, take an egg sample. They can actually check for avian influenza through the egg. So, no, there's nothing to be nervous about. Just call them up and ask them too. You know, say, hey, I've got chickens too. Do they also need to be on the MPI certification? You know, might be for your peace of mind, you know, to have your chickens tested too. But I don't think if you're not selling hatching eggs or shipping across state lines that you'd really need to worry about it. But yeah, let me know how that goes. And he says, I may have gotten 100% hatch. That's a pretty good hatch rate. Loveday says, I see why not many people not many go organic. I pay $73 for 50 pounds of Modesto, 28% starter shipped to my door. Expensive, but they're delicious. Okay. That's quite pricey for a 50-pound bag of feed. The Steve says, the website does not show the cups. I believe you said they will come with them. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. As a matter of fact, when I first ordered from Amazon, it only showed the square thing, and that's what I thought I was getting, and I was happy with that. But then the package came, and it had the cups, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. So I went back to the website to order again, and same as that I didn't see the cups on there. It was just the nipple itself. So I actually called up the company, Rent-A-Coop, and talked to them, and they said, yeah, they've switched over all their standard horizontal nipples to the cup style nipples. So yeah, if you order them, as a matter of fact, I got my second shipment in yesterday from them, and it came with the cups. So if you order them from Amazon, you will get the cups. Another thing about the cups, I know I talked to one person that said, he goes, the cups are nice, but I'd like to be able to, he goes, I don't want to order them because I don't want the cups. You wanted just the nipple. And I told him, I said, well, they're the exact same price, and the cups are removable. You can take the cups off, wash them out, whatever you want to do. So that works well there too. Andy Rabbit says, I'll know for sure later today when I move them out of the incubator. That's cool, though. Hope you did get 100%. Quail Hollow says, I use turkey starter all the way through. It's super cheap in my local Buckers fields, 26%. I can't find game bird starter anywhere close to me. Yeah, 26%, that's fine. I like to drop the protein when they start laying. I like to drop the protein down to around 16%, and then up the calcium to like 3.5% or 4%. That way you don't have any issues with soft shells. But yeah, I'm glad that that's working out for you. Okay, there you go. Sharon says, there's a feed mill in Zephyrhills called Swans, good feed and prices, but I think they only have game bird starter and regular chicken layer. Davis Family 5 says, I use chicken starter, 28% protein. I've been using it for 2 years, no problem with my quail. I can't find a chicken starter more than 22%. And I did have to buy a bag of it. This was a while back when they were out of the normal game bird starter that I was using. But yeah, 28% protein would be fine. Don says, we're happy with Kalmbach Meat Bird, 22% feed for $19 for 50 pounds. That's pretty good. Mr. J. Sosa says, hey, Terry, my bobwhites look like flies going everywhere every time I open their grow-out cage. Should I keep them in cages or build them an aviary where they can fly? I've never done bobwhites. I've hatched them out for other people, but I've never kept them as far as breeding them. From my understanding, you want them in a flight cage. You know, after you take them out of a brooder, you want to put them out in like an aviary type setting as a flight cage. I don't know if keeping them, you know, in an all-wire cage would affect them. If I'm not mistaken, bobwhites don't communal breed like Coturnix. I think that, you know, one male, one hen mate for life. Got to check on that. I'm not 100% sure, but I would think that being in an aviary type setting would be a lot better than keeping them caged. Anita says, talking to Carrie, says, we have an MPIP video on our YouTube channel. I'm not sure how to post a link because I'm on a mobile. The channel is Homestead Evolution. It is in the Quail Hatch to Dispatch playlist. Okay, appreciate that, Anita. I did not know you had an MPIP video. I will share that on the Coturnix Corner Library. Wow. Davis says, I pay $15 for a 50 pounds bag of feed. That's pretty darn good. Lindsay says, congrats on your 100% hatch. I got 60% on my first hatch, feeding out our farm. I was afraid no one would hatch. I'm just a little sad that the black banded didn't hatch. They're so beautiful. Yeah, they are. And I really like the blacks. I actually I discontinued that line of blacks. I want to concentrate just on, you know, a jumbo line of Pharaohs. But they were beautiful. The birds that I got from thieving out our farm were amazingly calm. You know, they bred well. I talked to Rebecca as far as how her setup on breeding them, and said she was keeping them in smaller ratio groups, like 1 to 2, I think, or 1 to 3. That way she knew that she was getting a decent fertility rate. I kept them in a little bit larger groups and didn't have, I mean, I got good fertility, probably around 50%, but after talking with Rebecca, you know, we took care of that problem. Sharon says, in Florida, you need to have a game farm license. Is there any reason we would need to get that? If you are only keeping Coturnix, no, you do not need the game farm license. That's Florida Fish and Wildlife stipulates that that's for bobwhites. The game farm license is for any native birds, and bobwhites, I guess, are considered native. The only license that you would need to get, you don't need to get, but NPIP certification is good. But if you're going to be selling hatching eggs, or not hatching eggs, but eating eggs on a pretty regular basis, they do have a small poultry farm license, something like that. Small poultry and egg license. It's not expensive for that license, but you do have to have, you got to meet all their criteria. Like you have to have 3 different type of basins for washing. Matter of fact, I did a video on washing quail eggs, And that video was after I found out what the state required. So, you know, if you want to, I mean, I sell eggs, backyard, across the fence, whatever you want to call it, and I don't have any type of license from the state other than being NPIP, and I've never had a problem. Carrie says, I do want to be able to ship across state lines and grow it as a business. Thanks for the info. My indoor bird room is also a storage building that is stacked high to make room for brooders and quail. Cool. Yeah, then definitely get your MPIP status, and you should be good to go. Darton says, hey, folks, finally caught a live stream. And Carrie did find Anita's channel. That's cool. Bob says, I have a good fertility with a 1-to-4 ratio. Never find unfertilized eggs when I candle. Cool. Yeah, I mean, and that's normally about what I do, a 1-to-4, 1-to-5, even a 1-to-6. But if I'm going to be selling hatching eggs, I prefer like a 1-to-3, just to give me better odds of having fertilized eggs. And with the hatching time cages, I used to have the center dividers pulled out, and I just have 18 birds in there. And now I decided, after talking with a couple of people, I put the dividers back in and set up individual breeding groups, 1-to-3 breeding groups, and I'm hoping that works out pretty good. Let's see. Quail Hollow says, I'm running 3x5 foot grow out cages I built myself, never more than 24 birds per pen. I find when I turn the food, oops, I lost your thing there. I find when I turn the food at night, they have absolutely ravage each other. Suggestions. 3x5 is 15. 15 by 4. Bump your birds up. Pack them in a little bit tighter. If you're having issues, 3x5 is 15 square feet, and you can go. Anita Garrett recommends 4 birds per square foot, and they don't have any issues with it. So, yeah, try bumping up your numbers inside your cage and see if that doesn't help you out any. Other than that, if you have birds that are consistently aggressive, definitely go through, call out any aggressors. I find that some lines from some breeders are just, have prone to be aggressive, and I call those lines out completely. All my birds. I mean, like I say, I just butchered 25 roosters yesterday, I think it was, that were all in one pen, and I didn't have any issues. They were 7.5, almost 8 weeks old, and never had any issues other than being noisy. They'd wake my wife up first thing in the morning because they were crowing, but no issues as far as aggression or anything like that. So your bloodline can have a lot to do with it. Bob says, plus my hutch size for each quintet is 2x4 by 8 square. Okay, 2x4, 8 square feet. Half-inch wire, half closed with a sandbox in there. Yeah, it sounds like the slightly redneck setup, Chris Karn setup. Yeah, and I think he does really good with that too. Okay, you're in Alabama. In Alabama, the egg poultry license is only required if you sell to people who resell them. If you are selling to the end user, you don't need the license. Cool. And I don't know in Florida, because I haven't looked at the website in quite a while. It's been a couple of years, but it may be the same. Here, if you're just selling to the end user, you don't have to have that license. But I don't know. I don't want to say you do or don't. For who is it? Sharon is in Florida. Just check their website. If you do a search for small poultry egg license Florida, it'll come right up. Oh, okay. Turn off the food. What do you mean by turn off the food? Are you restricting feed for them? at night, because yeah, if you pull the food, that's definitely gonna make some aggression issues happen. Um, yeah, let me know on that. All right, coffee break. I'm supposed to have been on coffee break all morning. Bob says, I copied the hutches from Chris, copied and built the all-wire cages like yours for draws. Yep, that's cool. I mean, a lot of people like Chris's setup. I like it because it's got the split unit. It's got the sand bath on one side and the wire floor on the other. And I almost built one, but I didn't. I just kind of came up with my own designs, and they seem to work out good. Child of God says, you were talking about the food you use, said the name, but I did not catch it at Just Tuned Room. Could you say the name again? It's Kalmbach. Kalmbach. Kalmbach feeds. Okay, Quail Hollow says, the lines are mine now, concentrating on colors and the education to identify them. 5 years and running. I don't have aggressive birds very often, except a few males that I call right away. Yeah, that's the way to do it. And then it goes on to say, it just seems if I turn the food off at night, they eat each other. LOL. Yeah, definitely leave the food available 24/7. There's no need to, restrict food from them at all. My birds always have food. And you will notice that if they run out of food or water, that can turn on aggression real quick. So, all right, that brings us down to the bottom of the list. I'm going to real quick go over a few things that are coming up. Not really announcements. Well, I guess it'd be an announcement. And then if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and get them in now. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and pull the plug. It is going on 9:45. It's about time I got back out there and got some work done. I got to feed my bees this morning. So I got to mix up some sugar water and go out and give the bees something to drink. Again, coming up this Tuesday, we have Bree Pats going to be on the Coturnix Corner live stream, talking about a new project that they are working on and have just gone public with. So, check that out. She can answer any questions you guys may have. Then the following week, on the 15th, I have Jeff. I got to look up his name because I forgot what his last name was. I got to start writing stuff down here. Anyhow, I can't find his last name right here real quick. Jeff is a poultry nutritionist, and he is going to be talking about, proper poultry nutrition, what you want to look for in feed. And it's probably a good idea that maybe I listen to him before I go switching to a new brand of feed, even though it's only a test, just to find out. This Tuesday, in 2 days, Bree Pats. On the 15th, which will be a week from Tuesday, will be Jeff. Oh, I wish I could remember his last name. And then I've got some other people set up. We're just waiting for confirmation on topics and whatnot. And I am I am going to be doing testing with these people that come on the live streams. We had a blunder a week or two ago. Just some issues with the software. So we are doing testing to eliminate any of those problems. All right, guys. Doesn't seem like we have any more questions. I am going to go ahead and pull the plug on this one. I really appreciate all you guys joining me today. Hope you guys enjoyed your coffee. Hope you enjoyed talking about quail. We're going to be doing the morning musings every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until you guys get bored of it and don't want to come listen to me ramble on anymore. So, guys, have a great rest of your weekend and a great good week next week. And don't forget to join us on Tuesday. Have a good week.